Good evening, everyone. My name is Federico Spoletti. I'm the founder of Fred Film Radio, a radio dedicated to film festivals and independent cinema. And I'm talking tonight on behalf of the Istituto Italiano di Cultura in Sydney as one of three curators of a new film event devoted to a different kind of Italy, stories, relationships, and emotion in Italian cinema in the early years of the new millennium. There are other two curators. One is Cristiana Palmieri, who you may know because she's based in Sydney and she's already has been involved in similar projects regarding Italian cinema in Australia. And the other one is Angela Prudenzi, a well-known film critic and member of the selection committee of the Venice International Film Festival. Tonight, we are screening the first film in this program, La Kryptonite Nella Borsa, directed by Ivan Cotroneo, and we are honored and proud to have the director with us, Ivan Cotroneo. Welcome, and thanks for being with us on this occasion tonight.
Thank you so much. I'm very proud to open this edition, this year's edition of your festival. I'm really proud. This is my first movie, and La Kryptonite is a movie that I longed very much and I wanted to do very much. So for me, it was the beginning, because before this movie, I was just a screenwriter and could despise all the other directors who ruined my screenplays. Now, after Kryptonite, I became a director, and so I can never despise my colleague directors anymore.
You got the responsibility because it's the first film, you know, so it must be a good start. Let me just give you a brief introduction before asking you a few questions. This film, as you said, is a debut feature. It was released in Italy in 2011, and it's a film transposition of your novel, published in 2007, and it premiered, I remember that, at the Rome International Film Festival in November 2010, and it was a huge success, a great success. It's a wonderful, in my opinion, bittersweet comedy with a stellar Italian cast, very big names. Valeria Golino, well-known and high-respected actress who is really famous all over the world. She also starred in Hollywood movies. You may remember Rain Man with Tom Cruise. She's a very active actress. She made more than 100 films and recently seen also in The Morning Show, the Apple Plus TV series. And she's a national treasure, I would say. She's also a film director, very well known for Miele or Euforia. And then we have Luca Zingaretti, also well known all over the world, thanks to Il Commissario Montalbano, Inspector Montalbano, the most popular Italian TV series sold all over the world. And then we have other important Italian actors, Cristiana Capotondi, Fabrizio Giffoni, Libero De Rienzo, and also and the wonderful child actor at the time, Luigi Catani, seen recently in Magari by Ginevra Elkan. So it's a debut film with a great Italian cast from a director who, as you said, was already a very successful screenwriter, because Ivan wrote Mine Vaganti with Ferzan Ozpetek, Loose Cannons in 2010, and also you wrote Io sono l'amore, I am love by Luca Guadagnino, and you came at the time from the great success of Tutti pazzi per amore, a musical TV series which was very popular in Italy at the time. So we go back 10 years with La Kryptonite, which is, in my opinion, almost an Italian classic, so to speak. Oh. Yeah, with characters one feels immediately close to. They are very relatable characters, and there is a sense of humor which I think has been widely imitated since. It's a movie that is often quoted, and there is a sort of a lasting power. I feel one remembers. Also, yeah, I think for the kind of humors you use, and for a great script, and also very, very good acting. So do you agree with this view? What do you feel about it?
I couldn't I couldn't hope for more. So that I definitely agree. I mean, I hope I wish that would be true. I wish that I would have done such a great job, as you say. I definitely agree there is a comedy, and there is a particular kind of comedy. The book on which the movie is based is in part a fictional re-elaboration of my childhood in Naples, and I completely relate with the kid who is the main character, Luigi Catani, Peppino, because part of his story is part of my story. I was raised by my uncle and my aunts, and they made me do very very improbable kind of things. They took me to parties. They had me having all kind of stuff, and they.
So that part we see in the film without giving too much away.
I had my parents both working. We didn't have a babysitter, a properly babysitter, and I was considered kind of not, I would say, well, complicated kid, not troubled, but definitely complicated with glasses like Luigi and a great imagination. And so they put me in places, in the rooms where they did all kinds of things, from sex to other things, and I watched everything, and then I re-elaborate in my mind. And I think that it was a huge, as you will see in the movie, it's a huge family. And it still is a huge family, huge Neapolitan family. And I think that
now it's very usually they say dysfunctional family.
Yes.
Is it a little bit dysfunctional?
Yeah, I would say it has its own way to function. It's completely dysfunctional, but it has its own way to function. And I think that it's my family who taught me the sense of humor, because when you live with a great family, you are never alone. And this is a disgrace, but also it's also something that saves you, because you can't be closed in a room weeping and crying and say, oh, poor me, because there is always someone on the door who says, look at you, you're pathetic, you're ridiculous, what are you doing? And this distance from you crying and the other people who sees you crying, it's the distance of humor. Yeah. So I'm happy that you find humor, because actually a lot of, as in every comedy, a lot of tragic things happen in Kryptonite, but Chill's eye and also his imagination are able to put everything in comedy.
Well, why did you want to make a movie set in the 70s and showing such as, very colorful Naples in the 70s, which is important part of the film?
I was born in 1968, so my childhood was in the 70s, so I wanted to recreate. But especially in the movie, you will see, I hope you will see, there is something I wanted to say about my female characters, about the two important ones, Rosaria and Titina, the two sisters, Valeria Agolino and Cristiana Capotondi, because even if they are separated just by 10 years, they belong to a very different kind of Italian woman. 70s are years of transformation. So there is something that I wanted to say about the way so fierce, so wild, so beautiful that I see my aunts at the time. When I went out with them and I walked with them, I feel like I was always in the parade, I was in a catwalk. In the same time, if someone told something to her, if we didn't know at the time it was called catcalling, they were very angry. They didn't want to be judged just by how beautiful they were. They were fierce. I had aunts that were like my stars, my goddess. So and I think that in this year, the fact that I was in a way brought up by them is the reason why I am a feminist now, and I am so, and I so much like write about women, about characters, feminine characters, and most of my protagonists are women, and I love to work with actresses. In this case, I was blessed both Valeria Agolino and Cristiana. They won several awards for Kryptonite. But in general, I love acting, and you're right. I was blessed with this movie with a wonderful cast, and also it was a debut film for Vincenzo Nemolato, who after that went to work in theater with Tony Servillo, and now is a young Italian actor who works a lot with it was in Martin Eden by Pietro Marcello. So I had this wonderful cast thanks to my production. I must say that the Indigo Film, that's my production, that's the same production of The Great Beauty and most of Sorrentino movie. They have this kind of rule. They say that for a debut film, for the beginning, for the first film, a director must have all he needs. Then on the second and on the third, you can be you can work with less. But
yeah. By the way, you have a great DOP. I think that Luca Bigazzi is possibly the great cinematographer we have in Italy right now, and there is a lot of work on the images and on the color. So can you say something about that?
Yeah, I was very intimidated at the beginning by meeting Luca Bigazzi, because it was my first movie, and it was his I think 65th movie at the time. So I was very, very intimidated. Luca is a wonderful person. After Kryptonite, I worked everything I did with him. We are like brothers now, 10 years later. And it's been and it is one of the most important encounters of my life. Not only because he's such a talented DOP, but because he trusted me from the beginning. So he trusted my vision of the movie. He encouraged me. He helped me to do the things I wanted. He was never positive on me, even when he could. He let me also.
Well, it was your novel, and so in a way, you of course you knew what you wanted. I think in terms of
yeah. That's exactly the thing he said to me. But he was so humble in trying to understand what I really want. So for a person who at the time had won already an EFA and all the Italian and European awards possible for a DOP, it was wonderful. And he also, since he was this great person with this great personality, having always his hand on my shoulder, it meant a lot for the other people too. I had all the crew listening to me, and I'm a very talkative person. I like to share. I don't think that the director can do his own film by himself. He needs to share his vision. He has a responsibility of showing us, showing all the other people what he wants to do. Otherwise, the movie is impossible. And he helped me by letting the other listen to me, by pointing to me and say, listen to this guy, because he knows what he wants to do.
Yeah, which is important in the beginning, I suppose.
Yes, it's fundamental.
Listen, let me ask you something about Italy and Naples. In your opinion, what image of the country comes out of this movie, or to what extent has Naples changed since then, or since 2010 when the movie came out?
It's very difficult, because I am part of the question, because I am from Naples, and I was born in Naples, and I lived in Naples till I was 22. So my relationship with Naples is very difficult. In the 90s, in 1992, when I left for Rome to study movies, to study cinematography, I hated my city, and now I love it. And it's a very complicated city. And I see that all around the world there are different versions of Naples, from Gomorra and Kryptonite and Ferzan Ozpetek movie, Napoli Velata. Or you can see so many different Naples in Italian cinematography, because there are so many possible points from where you I must say that I feel a little bit frustrated when my city that I love so much, that I have hated, but it's part of me, and now I love, because maybe I don't live there anymore, or because time has passed. But I hate the fact that it's so when it is too much identified with the Gomorra kind of tale. That's one of the possible tales about Naples, but not the only one. And Kryptonite is another one. Martin Eden is another way of doing it. Cinque il numero perfetto is another movie set in Naples. It is, and Naples è stata la mano di Dio by Paolo Sorrentino. Again, is another way of looking at Naples with Maradona in the 80s and so on. It's very complicated and wonderful city. So every vision is true, and no vision is completely true, because there's something that's out of the screen, something left, something that is not yet told.
And what do you think is if there is a specific view, a specific idea of Italy that the film conveys? Is there something? What idea of Italy do you think people find in
In Kryptonite, I think there's something about, I don't know if it's just Italian, but there's something about the family traps and also family comfort, about the kind of net that the family is. And it's a net that can save you, and also at the same time, a net that can strangle you, and all the complicated relationship between a mother and his son, and also the kind of the way in Italy, especially the Italy of the 70s, look at everything was different, because Peppino is a different guy, is different from the other, not only because he wears glasses, but he feels different from the other. And then I think part of this can be, if not typically Italian, can be like recognizable as Italian. Surely our relationship with our mothers, our relationship with our family, the idea of my father had 6 brothers and sisters, and my mother the same number. So I had 10 uncles and aunts. This is like now, if I look around myself, it seems like a village, not so usual.
What would you say to the audience? Final question. What would you say to the audience who's about to see your film tonight?
First of all, thank you to spend 1 hour and a half with me and my movie and my childhood and my crazy aunts and crazy uncles and crazy family. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like it. I hope you love the actors, because I love them so much. And part of when I passed to be just a screenwriter to being a director, having the possibility of working with actors was and it still is the most wonderful thing. So I hope you will like the acting, and I hope you will enjoy. And sometimes in life happens, you could cry and you could laugh. Very close. Almost.
Well, thank you very much to Iva Cotroneo for being with us for this event. And I know you're a hyperactive person, and you always work. And if I'm right, there is a film with and about Laura Pausini coming out soon, or?
Yes, on the 7th of April on Amazon Prime. There is this kind of very strange movie that's also documentary, but it's also about the possible lives. It will be out in less than a month, on the 7th of April, yes.
And what are you working on now? Can you tell us something?
Yes, I'm working on a TV series, and also I'm writing for the first time in my life a comedy, a play for the theater that I would like to direct with a bunch of actors that I like, because that part of directing, the theater directing, I haven't already done. And I'm already excited if I think how must be to spend 8 hours in a closed place. Actually, my last movie, 14 Days, that will be out with Paramount Plus, I think all around the world.
We saw that in Torino.
Yeah, that one it's very close to the theater experience, because I just had 2 actors. It was shot during the lockdown, and it also had an international. It also will have an international release, because it will be out with the Paramount Plus. So I will go on directing actors. That's one of the most beautiful things to do.
Thank you again, Ivan. I'll leave you with La Kryptonite Nella Borsa. We hope you like it and enjoy the screenings. Thanks.
Thanks.